remember I started in school and I saw a little bit of spotting. So I was like, all right, what do I do? So I thought, okay, I just got some tissue. And this is my key thing to any child that starts their period and they don't realize it, or they're out and about and they don't know, haven't calculated when their periods are going to come. Go to the toilet, the nearest toilet, get tissue and roll it in your hand and place it in your knickers. That will give you time to deal with what's just happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Conversations with myself, Francis Koh. Once again, we have another exciting show ahead. Apparently, it has been said many times over that one of the challenging things when young ladies become adults is the time of the month, also known as the period. For most parents, they don't know how to act or what to say to them. In most cases, fathers have no idea how to even start the conversation. So today we've got a lady who goes into schools and speaks to organizations, speaks to different parents as well as kids, and talks to them about what to expect, what to do when such situation arises. Please allow me to welcome to the show, Miss Mary. How are you, Mary? How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Francis. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Why are you being shy? You're not a shy person.
I'm warming up.
Okay,
I'm warming up. I'm warming up.
Well, got a cup of tea for
I
you
know.
to warm up,
Thanks. So lovely.
It's slightly cold today, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, the weather in London can be very temperamental, but here we are. So, talk to me. What is Pretty Like Me? What was the idea behind it? What made you come up with it?
Okay, so Pretty Like Me is all about I'm not pretty like you, I'm pretty like me. So you own your beauty, own who you are, be happy with who you are. That's the main message around Pretty Like Me. Secondly, how it started was during lockdown. And that's where the idea came to me. Because I'm sure just like most parents or some parents, you were working from home or you were on furlough or whatever it was. And so you had more time with your children, more time with your daughters in this case. And I noticed during lockdown that my daughter's body was changing. Maybe I would not have noticed it as much if I had the hustle of my 9 to 5, going to work, coming home, because I drop you to school, pick you up from school in the evening, you do your homework, you do your activity, I put you to bed.
So that's one of the great things I have to say about lockdown is a lot of business started, a lot of people started their own business. And for you, as you said, you spend a lot of time with your daughter, which we didn't get to do as parents because we're so busy working, doing this, doing that. And you got to notice. So when you notice the change of her body, then where did you go from there?
So when I noticed the change in her body, for me, I noticed the smell first. Because obviously you're at home. If we're all genuinely honest with ourselves, we weren't all waking up at 8 o'clock, brushing our teeth, getting washed, getting dressed. We became lazy. That's why loungewear, tracksuits and stuff are popular selling items now, because we spent a lot of time just relaxing.
So you noticed the smell, sweatshirt, everything. How did you then have that conversation with her or with yourself?
So in my head, I was like, this girl's smelling, right? Yeah. But obviously I cannot go, this girl's smelling. So I kind of said to her, oh, you know what? I was like, let's go to Savers.
Yeah.
And she was like, why? I was like, because we need to talk about the change in your body. Have you noticed anything different about your body? So she shyly was like, because as you start puberty, what we don't realize is that the girls have already started to notice what's going on because it's their body. So they may say to you, no, it's all right, you don't need to help me in the bathroom, or there's a bit more private about when they're getting dressed and stuff like that. So she was like, oh, okay. Because she'd noticed. So her breasts had started to change. She was getting like little discs So her nipples were enlarging. So she would notice that. She'd noticed that a few pubic hairs had sprouted. Now, it's scary because in girls, puberty starts from as young as 8.
Wow.
So if we all think about our 10-year-olds now or our 9-year-olds now, during lockdown, they would have seen this all happening to them. And will they say anything? No. Because far as they're used to it because they're seeing it. They see their bodies every day. So they are used to it because they see it every day. So they are actually relieved when someone else says, oh, you going through this, or oh, have this happened to you? They're like, whew,
It's normal.
I'm not strange. I am normal. So we went along to Savers, bought her, so she had like her own little scrubber and stuff like that, but I just bought her another one, bought her some shower gel, but I bought a pH neutral, so no perfume, no fancy smelling stuff, because you're about to wash your skin. You don't really want to use too much perfume if you like baths, because if you put like bubble bath and stuff like that, we all know as females that can lead to possible things like thrush and other sort of like discharges, and it's sometimes uncomfortable because it's not good to use too much perfume goods in your bath. Then I bought her some deodorant. I didn't go with antiperspirant like the spray. I bought roll-on. I bought a roll-on that was from, am I allowed to say?
Don't.
So I bought a roll-on from Dove, which was amazing because it is literally creamy like baby lotion. And we went home. When we got home, I said to her, all right, as a young woman, this is now what you want to do. Because she had already said to me at school, some girls are smelling, right? But she didn't understand why they were smelling, because before lockdown, she didn't see anything wrong with them. But now some girls, because they lived in the same estate near her school, they were spending more time together, like in lockdown, like creating their own little bubbles. And some kids whose parents were key workers, they were still allowed to go to school. And then, you know, on the chat groups, they were saying, oh, this girl, you know, she's starting to be smelling.
How old is your daughter? So
at the time, she was like 8.5.
So 8.5, she's got on WhatsApp chat group.
So, yes. So basically, the girls in their class, they have a chat group. And it's monitored heavily by the parents because we all know each other. So it's not like just everybody in the class.
Yeah.
So it's like they're a friendship group. So they in their group had started saying little things like, oh, I've noticed that my shirt has got yellow stains on my armpit. So they had started talking about it. A couple of girls before lockdown had finished had just started their periods. So some of these girls have started period in primary school.
So how do parents have that conversation with the daughter? Because I know, as a father, 3 girls, I'm not having that conversation. I don't even know. What do I say?
So the first thing is, have you noticed anything?
So when do I say it?
So it's not a when do you say moment. It's your actions. So it's not a when do you say moment. So for me, I grew up with my mum and my sister. We walked around the house with our bras, knickers. So it was normal. It was quite comfortable for me. Although my mum never spoke to me about periods.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Did you have that conversation with your mum? So let's go back to when you discovered it. Was it daunting for you? Was it scary? Was it a shock? And obviously, I'm assuming you don't want your kids to go through the same experience. And how important is it that that conversation is had?
Right. So if we go back to when I started my period in primary school, which is why I think I'm so into, you need to let them know from now. You need to let them know from now. Because I started in primary school. Now, as a Ghanaian child, as a Ghanaian person, my mum boiled me an egg when I started my period. Now, I have no idea.
Sorry.
My mum boiled me an egg.
Sorry. You see Rasta there, he can't stop laughing.
My mum boiled me an egg.
I don't want to offend anyone from... Mum, can you explain?
My mum boiled me an egg. Like, you're hearing me correctly. No, I didn't see it coming either.
Sorry. I really don't want to offend anyone. Is it a traditional thing? Is it mum didn't know what to do?
So,
Did you eat the egg? Did you pray over the egg?
I'll be deadly honest, right? So, obviously...
Was it a free-range egg?
I don't think they done organic egg and all that when I was like 9 years old. I don't think they did that kind of stuff, right? But I'll be deadly honest.
Sorry, I'm picturing you going to your mum. Mum, hey, my daughter, come, let's get the egg and put... We need to interview your mum.
I'll be honest. So I remember I started in school and I saw a little bit of spotting. So I was like, all right, what do I do? So I thought, okay, I just got some tissue. And this is my key thing to any child that starts their period and they don't realize it, or they're out and about and they don't know, haven't calculated when their periods are going to come. Go to the toilet, the nearest toilet, get tissue and roll it in your hand and place it in your knickers. That will give you time to deal with what's just happened.
While the egg's being boiled.
I rolled the tissue, I put it in my knickers, told my teacher.
So how did you even know to roll the tissue? Where did that inclination come from?
Because all I saw was something that was not supposed to be coming out of me, as far as I was concerned.
Can you remember, was you scared? Was you frightened?
I remember thinking, ooh, what's this? Because my sister, she's 5 years older than me, but she didn't start her period until she was about 16. So by then, my mum didn't have periods because she had started her menopause. So, but what I now understand to be menopause, because I never saw pads in the house when I got to an age where I could understand what a pad was. So I'm 9. And I just thought, let me just get some tissue, because I knew that you use tissue to wipe yourself clean. When you go to the toilet as a female, we use tissue to wipe our vulva. So I just assumed that I better just put something there. I don't know how I thought about it or what, but that's when I say children know more than we think they know, or they have more common sense that we give them credit for.
Yes.
And I went home. I said, oh, Mum, look at this, like, showed her.
Was you scared? Because I know African parents can be very tough. Was you scared because you didn't know what it was? Well, what I'm trying to get to, trying to make it comfortable for children to approach their parents about this conversation.
I wasn't scared.
Okay.
And I just genuinely feel that's down to the relationship that you have with your parents.
Yes.
So again, it's very important for me, even me as a parent, it's very important to be open with your children. I mean, not open to the point where they think you're friends, but open to the point where they feel comfortable enough to be able to talk to you about anything. And I suppose my mum was like that. So she was like, oh, it's nothing to worry about. It's just you are becoming a woman. That was her words. You are becoming a woman. So I'm going to boil egg for you now. So she boiled the egg. Now, if I replay it back now as a grown-up, I feel like it has something to do with eggs, childbirth. You know, they say that, women have eggs, or, that kind of stuff. I'm sure it has some, medical connection. I have no idea why she boiled my egg, right? So moving on from the egg, she then gave me a little handbag. And this is where I got the idea. Sorry, he's not taking me seriously right now.
Sorry, so you tell your mum,
Yeah.
Mum, I've come on period, first time was this.
Yes.
Your mum says it's okay, you becoming a woman. And she goes in the kitchen and boils an egg.
Yeah. And then she phoned my aunts and let them know.
To bring more eggs?
No, that her daughter is a woman. Oh, her daughter is a woman.
I'm so, listen, people, I'm a man. I don't know how these things work. Please, if anyone knows where the egg system comes from, I would please educate me and ask. Yes, sorry, Karen. So she gave you a bag.
So she gave me a bag. So my Sunday bag for church, that then became my period bag, which is where I got the idea about period kits. Because she gave me a bag, and every month I would take that bag to school, and it would have pads and tissue in there. She told my teacher, because in primary school you don't roam, you have your same teacher every day. So she told my teacher that I'd now started my period. So when she saw me with the bag, that's what time it was, basically.
So so when a teacher sees you with the bag, she knows it's just time of the month.
Yeah.
Give you a space, be more patient with you, so to speak, because
Yeah.
everyone gets affected differently.
She was more flexible with me saying, can I go to the toilet?
Okay.
Because I didn't know, and that's one of the things I talk to young girls about, is getting used to how long your pad will last for.
Is there different kind of pads that
So there's different
kids
kind of pads.
should be aware of?
Yeah, so there's many a pad. So you've got light days, heavy days, nighttime pads. You've got pads that are small enough now for younger girls. Because when I was growing up, there was no teenage range for...
So is it crucial that kids know which pad to go for? And this is a conversation that's had with the parents, I'm assuming?
Right. So this is a conversation that is had with parents. This is a conversation that is had also with the girls.
Do you think schools are doing enough to educate this? And what would you like to see? Because obviously you go into schools and you go different organizations and speak to them. Do you think, what can schools do to help? And it's also an expensive, it's an expensive time, pads, this and that. Don't you think something could be done where it should be free?
Right. So at the moment, schools have a little box whereby or a cupboard or whatever, that if a child does start their period, they can go to the office, the school office, and ask for a pad. However, it's already a daunting experience for you to have to go and ask the teacher in the office or the manager in the office or whatever, receptionist, whatever, for a pad. But like most times, the lady in the office, especially if you're in primary school, starting in primary school, the lady in the office is normally a woman. Sometimes if there's cover and it could be a male, then that's where it gets a bit daunting, because they're not young ladies are not taught to embrace their periods, because it's so cloak and dagger already. So they haven't had some of them haven't had conversations with their parents. I think because, again, historically, nobody has spoken to them about it, so they think it's just something that happens and we'll figure it out. But I think a lot more could be done, because when in lockdown, I did start sort of like reaching out to the major, like the big wigs in this game, like Lilette's, Always, Kotex. I reached out to them, and they're doing a lot in other countries, like India and stuff like that. But they did a little bit during lockdown where they was providing food banks with sanitation towels, because if you think about it, to now add the extra cost of a packet of pads, it could just only be £1. But
maybe less.
Or less,
But
maybe.
these companies do make enough money.
Right, but for a family who is struggling anyway,
Exactly.
to now have to add the cost of 2 packets of pad a month, people may only think, oh, it's only £3, but some people don't have that £3. So again, you find that some girls will miss school because they started their period. You have a lot of girls talking about the fact that they feel uncomfortable about being in a lesson, because again, if we go back to the different types of pads, they don't know what pad to use and what suits them.
Where can they get this education from to learn about pads and stuff? Obviously, Pretty Like Me, they can hit you up on Instagram,
Right.
email you, DM you.
Yeah. And this is why I started Pretty Like Me, because my daughter goes to primary school, and I use my daughter's primary school as my
Base.
almost like my case study, my base, my everything. And when I asked, oh, what do you teach them about in RSC, PSHE and all that stuff? So they teach you again about eggs. You know, you're becoming a girl. They teach you about eggs.
Boiled eggs?
Not boiled eggs.
Okay.
The eggs that you release. They teach you about all the medical stuff, you know. So now, you know, woman plus man makes a baby. Like, they teach you the scientific side of things. But if you can ask any girl, do you know how long your pad lasts? Do you know what to do if you leak? Do you know what you should have in your bag when you're on your period? Do you know that when you first start your period, you may see one month and not see another one for 3 months?
I mean, as I said, do you think this is the conversations that parents should also have, as in mother and father, or husband and wife, or partner and partner?
I think so. I think parents should...
Because I'm unaware of all of this, and I leave it to the mother, like, that's our department, so to speak. Just me being ignorant, I guess.
Yeah, it's not even ignorance. I think we forget that we once would have gone through that whole phase, because look at us now. So we once all would have gone through this phase. However, it's kind of a blur. You may as a girl, you may remember experiences of maybe, you know, your breasts may have been bigger than others. You may have suffered with body odor. You may have had pimples, because puberty comes not only just your period. That's just one element of puberty. Your body changes. You grow hair. Some people may get spots. You know, you have to start wearing a little bra. You may not want to do PE anymore. You may be rude to your mum and forget yourself that you're still a child and snap back at your mum. But that's because your hormones are changing.
Going on, yes.
You've got a lot going on. My whole body is doing this 360. It's dancing around. I'm getting breasts. I'm getting hips. I'm getting a belly. I'm getting spots. But where do I go with all of this? What do I do with all of this? I don't know. And then your mum might call you and you go, yeah. But you're used to hearing, as a mother, you're used to hearing, yes, mummy. And then you hear, yeah.
So those are the little telltale signs parents could pick up on.
Telltale signs. Look at your daughter, like even your daughter might have had a growth spurt.
Yeah.
So
it always happens during summer.
Right. Her leggings that was touching her ankle is now coming, what do you call it, jack-ups. It's getting higher. You know, if you take the time out to look at your child and she's about 9 years old, you will see something very different that's going on with her.
Do you think kids are kind to each other when they're turning over that stage? Are they aware of it? Because I can assume the changes, and a lot of kids are not aware. So that's when the bullying could come in.
Bullying does kick in.
What should kids look out for just to be kind to each other? Because, I mean, that's a hard question because kids are the biggest bullies in the world, but without meaning to be bullies because they're unaware. So a lot of them are unaware of the consequences to what they're doing. It's just a bit of fun and games.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Some of them really know what they're up to, but a huge amount is just like, oh, it's just fun. You know, we're having, but it has such a traumatic experience for the other child.
So I always, when I'm speaking to girls at school or in youth organisations and stuff like that, I always say to them that no matter where you go, like you said, children can be mean. It may be malicious, it may be they just saying stuff because what they see is what they say, whatever it is, but you can do your best to not make yourself a target for a bully. Because bullies, we all know, they go for weaknesses in people. They look for things that maybe they might have going on with themselves and try and allocate it in someone else and place that anger on that person. Or they might want to look cool in front of their friends. We don't know why children and people in general can be mean. So try your best not to make yourself a target. And the reason why I say try your best not to make yourself a target, be clean. Where possible, be clean. Okay, it's understandable. Some families and stuff, you know, whatever's going on in their household, that may be an issue. But that's where teachers need to be on point and notice differences in children. But as a young person, within your own power, if you can and you have the stuff at home, wash twice a day. Because your body's doing stuff that you may not notice, but you might smell it. Don't ignore what you think you see or hear or do. Wash regularly. You know, keep your clothes clean. If you're wearing a blazer, you're wearing a jumper, when you get home from school, take it off. Hang it up. Little things you can do for yourself. And as parents, if you have daughters, like I've taught my child, okay, when you come out of the bathroom, wash your knickers. So I showed her how to wash her knickers, hang them up. Don't wait for the wash to be done for the week. Wash your knickers. But it's all how you need to remember what it was like for you being young. Like as a man may never know because you didn't have to wash your knickers. You never had a period. And naturally, you may not be comfortable with the idea that your daughter is turning into a woman. So it may be awkward for you to have that conversation.
Let's touch on fathers. Because, you know, there's a huge amount of fathers out there who raising kids by themselves, daughters for that matter, or they see their kids on the weekends or whatever their arrangement is. How can that conversation go with fathers? What advice do you give to fathers out there?
So what I've done with some dads is I've created a kit for them. And in that kit has everything that a girl needs for that day or for that time. And that kit contains different types of pads. So I mentioned to you earlier that there's different types of pads that are for daytime, nighttime, heavy, when you're just coming on, when you're finishing. Like there's so many different pads. So I give them the different types of pads. Okay. I provide them with a little purse that, again, stemming back to when I was young, a little bag. But this purse looks like a pencil case. So if she says if she picks this up and she says, oh, I need to go to the bathroom, all eyes ain't on me. And you give the dads the tools to say, you know what, I know this day is coming. And when you're with me, I want you to know that I might not understand what you're going through, but I get it.
That's an amazing idea for the kit bag. I think that's crucial, and thank you for that. Are fathers a bit standoffish, or do they welcome you?
To be honest, it's weird because it's a welcoming conversation that they find very difficult to have, but they're glad
Yeah.
about the conversation because one father that I gave the pack to, he sees his daughter at the weekend and she came on. Her first period started when she was with him.
Wow.
And she didn't say anything to him.
The whole weekend.
The whole weekend. She didn't say anything to him. But when she had left, he found the sheets that she had folded up and shoved in a corner. And she left quietly on the Sunday. But he had noticed that, you know, there was a lot of flannels and toilet roll was finished. Like I said, you as a female, you know, tissue cleans. So naturally, your instinct would be to go for tissue.
Yeah.
The wipes, all the certain things were just finished. But then he found the sheets that had like where she had leaked. So he approached Pretty Like Me and said, look, I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen these little packs that you have on your Instagram. Like, can you hook me up? Because my daughter comes to me every other weekend. So I don't know if her period will fall on that weekend, but this is what occurred. And I'm mortified that I didn't know. I'm mortified that she didn't come to me.
I guess it's a daunting experience for both, because as a father, you're thinking, Baba, you should have came to me.
Yeah.
You know, and as a daughter, you probably don't know how to approach that conversation with your dad. So here I got one of your latest posters, Pretty Like Me. So the first issue is coming out in June.
Yes.
Yes, well done. Celebrating the new you, for those who can see. And at the bottom it says there's a giveaway. So guys, please go onto the Instagram logo and find the giveaway. And it says puberty, what are the 5 stages? So there's 5 stages to puberty. Please run us through them.
Okay. So I kind of touched on them before.
Yeah.
Period. So a lot of people think period is, that's it. It's your period. You're going to get your period, puberty done for you. No. There's spots.
Yep.
There's sweats and smells.
Yep.
There's breasts.
Yep.
And then there's your body shape and change.
So not all 5 come on in some cases.
So you may get spots when you're 15. Because puberty lasts literally,
Till
when
your menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might find that some young girls get spots 12, 13, or they get them at 11. Some, the sweats and smells is something that, because you're now getting pubic hairs, also your body is now changing. Your shape is changing. So that's where the body odor, it's literally sweats and smells is basically body odor. So this is where the regular keeping clean. Then your breasts. Parents, mums, you will notice that your child's breasts are changing. They've gone from having these tiny little nipples to round, to like a size of a 10 pence piece possibly, because their nipples are forming, their breasts are forming. You'll notice that they might have they might be very slim, but they may have a little bit of shape coming, like their bums might start to stick out a bit. If they're a little bit more shapely, they might start to have hips. So there's so much stuff that is happening to your daughter that if you just stop and have a look, you'll notice. You'll see it. it may be that you've put on her vest and her vest is no longer just flat. You might see that there's, it looks a bit perkier. There's little things. So because of those little things that you notice, you don't necessarily always have to have a conversation. You can go on Pretty Like Me, you can contact me, you can go on Google. There's so much information that people don't realize is there. Because if you was to just not want to have the conversation with your daughter because you think, oh my God, I'm so scared to have it anyway, because how do you go and say to your daughter, oh, I've noticed you got some boobies coming or whatever it is. Your daughter's going to be like, oh my God.
Mom,
yeah,
Dad.
go away,
Yeah.
leave me alone. So you can go and Google, have a look. My daughter's 8, what am I supposed to expect? And you'll see there's a whole bit of information.
It's there for us.
It's there.
So before we wrap up, that's your camera there. What advice do you give to parents on the subject matter?
So my advice would be is to take time out. That is the main thing, is to take time out and actually have a look at what is going on in front of you. You might notice that your daughter's got a little bit more attitude. She might even be more into how she looks. So some of us might put it down to our social media or, that she's just following. But no, it could be that, part of puberty is and embracing it is the change. So she might say to you, Mum, I don't want t-shirts with unicorns on it anymore. I just want to buy a plain white t-shirt. Or can I get a skinny jeans instead of the straight cut that you buy for me? All of these clothes are in the children's section anyway. But have a look at what's going on with her. Ask her what she's into now. Because she may not be into LOL no more or Barbie anymore. She might be into something else. She might want to read more. Have a look at the kind of books that she's asking you to get, or if you take her to the library, what books is she picking up? What topics is she learning about, or what does she want to talk to you about? It's all about taking time out. And that's the most important thing I can say, is taking time out. And then just remembering that as a woman, you were young once. And that is the main key. You were young once. In order for you to get to have your child and to be what you look like now, you went through a transition. And that is the key thing, to remember that you went through a transition. And to just speak to other parents. That is the main thing as well, because a lot of my work came from the school gate, where I had dads saying, oh, she's really cheeky, she's getting a bit rude now. I don't know what's going on with her. She don't want to do nothing. So I'm saying, she might be going through the change. She's in year 4, so she's 8. So it could be that she's starting her puberty journey, because it's a journey. And then you've got mums whispering, oh, has your daughter started her period yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. She's like, oh, mine did yesterday. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. But that's at the gate. So again, everybody is thinking and feeling. If they have daughters, they're thinking and feeling more than like the same thing. They're dreading the day.
Because it's coming.
Because it will come, and it's coming.
You might be lucky where it comes when she's 16, 17.
But then if she's 16, 17 and it's coming, you're still going to have to educate her, because again, friendships are important as well as a girl. Especially if you start puberty late, friendships are important. Because you want to know that there's someone else like you in your class.
Yeah.
Or people are going through the same things as you. Because ultimately, at some stage, everyone is going to touch wood and God spare life and all of those things, all being well, you're all going to go through the same journey.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Thank you very much, man, for Pretty Like Me. I think it's a great thing you're doing. I love the bag idea. I think that's key. Let's normalize it.
That
You
is
know,
the
let's
word,
really
Francis. Normalize
normalize
your,
it.
embrace your parents.
Yeah.
You want your children to be brazen enough. So the girls that I work with, they're now brazen enough to be like, I don't feel well today, I'm on my period.
Yeah.
Or has anybody got a spare pad? Like,
There you go.
say it.
Or it could be a thing where we have area in the classroom where they're just pads, and hopefully that the students will be sensible enough. Or perhaps instead of having teachers, we can have enlist their responsibility trusted students, female students who can be in charge of the pads. And I don't know, there's something, I'm
Create
sure,
initiatives, yeah.
there's something we
Because
can do.
what you find in schools is that teachers need to be educated on
Exactly.
what comes with being on your period. So you teach me about the eggs and like what I'm a woman now, you know, the scientific stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't teach me how to communicate with my teacher when I get to secondary school that I'm on my period. How do I communicate with you? I need to go to the toilet. Make it okay. And that's the thing. Society needs to make it okay for females to be able to approach and have the confidence to approach.
Conversations such as this, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the easiest conversation I've had, but I'm glad we've had it. I'm, gonna go home and speak to the missus in further details and see where we go from there.
Don't worry, and I'll get you a kit. I'll give you a kit.
I want that kit. I mean, not for
You
myself,
can-
for my
no, you
daughters.
haven't. I'll get you a kit, courtesy.
Yeah. Close it off. How would you like to end off the show? You end it however you want to end it.
So, to be honest, for me, like, some people might close it with, hit me up on Pretty Like Me and blah, blah, you can find me here. No.
You just did.
But I don't want to
indirectly.
do that.
You just did.
What I want everyone to do is just take time out and look at what's going on with their daughters. And that is, for me, my job is done. If everyone can just take time out, look at what's going on with your daughters, speak to them about things. If you're in the supermarket, go to the section where they sell like bras and stuff like that, and just go, look what do you think of these? Conversations. That's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Please take time, spend more time, pay attention to your kids, because you just never know. Don't assume it'll come at 16, 17 or 18, as Mary just alluded to. It can start from as young as 8, possibly 6 in some cases. Can you imagine the daunting experience they must go through? So I think as parents, it's our responsibility to make sure we're equipped with the knowledge as well as the equipment to deal with the situation. If all fails, make sure you have an egg at home so you can just boil it. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, love, peace, and happiness.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to phone my mom. I'm going to ring my mom.